My cot goes here. We got Kyan, we got Mark Livesey over here with all of his mess. These guys drink so much coffee that we have a giant Stanley coffee press, something you normally wouldn't have. Wanted to walk you guys through our Alaskan moose hunt base camp. A few things that we normally don't take, but because we're up here for so many days, we're actually almost 3 weeks on this trip. Came up early, wanted to do some scouting, get a bunch of fishing in, some bird hunting. So we brought some extra gear pieces that we normally don't have, but I think we got a pretty good system up here. Starting with our little bear fence that we just fashioned up before we came up. What we did is we ended up grabbing a little 3-pound 12-volt lead cell battery. Not super light, but we were dropped here by a float plane. So we've got that comboed with a Gallagher, I think it's a B60. So that'll kick out a little over 0.6 joules. It's quite the thump. I've tested it, and I feel like that's much better than what I've seen out there for kind of what they sell for bear fences. We just rigged it up out of garden stakes, some tubing, some pipe clamps, and that's about it. Thin wire, so it holds up good in the wind. It's super lightweight. The only thing that's not lightweight is the battery and the little grounding rod, but that's been pretty slick so far. And then obviously we got the big wall tent on this one. We expect weather. We've got a lot of days left. We've already had a lot of days of rain, and it is real nice to crawl in here, sit by the fire. We got the peak stove in here. We got a huge pile of firewood that I don't feel like we can have enough of. But then let's kind of walk you through what we got. Obviously we got frying pans for fish because we've been catching a pile of fish. Got some good frying pans that we've been cooking on the stove with. Some little cheap cutting boards for filleting up the fish. We've got all our solar panels on this side wall. It's actually been a pretty sunny day, so we've been getting refilling all the power banks. We all brought chairs. I've used these Helinox chairs forever, and they seem like they just last. Comfortable for me. We brought the cots. We all brought cots. I think all brought the Helinox cots. This is mine, sleep system, Peaks bag, and then our camp saw is this big boy from Silky, and it is a game changer for cutting wood. You just have to cut a lot of wood up here, and you got to keep looking for it. There's not much here, so when you find it, you cut it and you get it under something so it stays dry, because there's not many things worse than having no wood and you having to go out and gather it when it's raining and it's just waterlogged and soaked. We also brought a little hatchet, again from Silky. This thing is a weight hit, but again, this is a kind of a base camp for us, so we packed a few extra things. This is good for splitting and getting to the dry stuff in the center of those bigger pieces of wood that we find. I've had this for a couple of years, and it is great. It's also good for driving stakes on these bigger tents. So, camp boots. You just want camp boots if you come to a place like this. Getting out middle of the night, you don't want to have to put your boots on. If your boots are wet and you're trying to dry them, last thing you want to do is slip them on. I brought these Hunters. These are just camp boots, pack boots from Schnee's. Easy to slip on. You can go get your chores done, get your wood, get your water, do some fishing along the shoreline, whatever. Usually I've always taken the extra toughs, and those are great too. We got a shotgun here. We got a bunch of ptarmigan, so all over these hills. We got a little double barrel shotgun from Weatherby. This thing's pretty slick, just a little 20 gauge. Fishing rods, we all brought probably too many. I think we all brought spin rods and fly rods. So we're well covered there. We've got our our water. These 10 liters are nice. You don't have to keep going down and filling very often. And then this is our tent, our wall tent. This is made by Snow Trekker. This thing is 11 feet by 11 feet. And so we're all three of us in here. We got a bunch of wood, we got the stove, and we got a bunch of space with just three of us. But this thing is pretty slick. It's kind of a hybrid with the canvas. 30 pounds overall with all the stakes. These stakes are actually packable. I think they're 19.5 inches. So I can actually take this, say I take the family somewhere, I can take this on my goats, put it on llamas, they'll fit in the panniers and pack down really nice and small. So this will go on a few trips with us. Went with the shortened pipe, obviously, for the wall tent. On the peak stove, we went with a 5.5 footer. But yeah, so far, this thing does really good in the wind. So kind of see the inside. It's kind of nice to have one of these for a base camp where you're literally up here for 2 to 3 weeks. And then, like I said, we've got, my cot goes here. We got Kyan, we got Mark Livesey over here with all of his mess, but just ample space in here. And you can see, like, these guys drink so much coffee that we have a giant Stanley coffee press, something you normally wouldn't have, but you know, we got dropped off here by float plane, so pretty nice to have in the base camp. Fill this up. And then the peak stove with all the nice dry wood. We are ready for weather. And I can't stress, like, man, if you ever find yourself in a place like this, I mean, I do this on every hunt. I probably overdo the wood, but gather it when you can. When it's dry, and then when you get that fire going, get it close to the fire. If it's not dry, try to dry it, because when you want to dry out your clothing or somebody goes in on a creek crossing, you just want wood. You don't want to have to be going out and searching for it when you need it. You just want it on the front end. So it's well worth taking a day or two and just bombing around, filling up your big 8K backpack, hauling it back here and having it when you need it. So that's pretty much it. That's kind of our moose camp in a nutshell. You know, the new features, there's this wall tent, which is really nice. Like I say, this is going to be cool for certain trips when we're not backpack hunting and spiking out with the Peaks teepees. But it's 30 pounds, so this isn't something that we're going to use a ton. But for hunts like this, it just makes sense. So we've got our Peaks teepees ready to go in our packs for all the spike out trips when we bomb away from this base camp. But that's pretty much it. So far, so good. Real comfortable. I think we've got a lot of wood, but we're gonna go get more. So that's our base camp.